everyone. Welcome to my show, CurryUp Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight purpose driven Asian leaders making an impact. This is your co host, Namya Joshi from India.
Hi everyone, this is Nethila. So welcome to CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight and purpose-driven Asian leaders making an impact.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my show, CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast. And what are you both doing over here, Namya and Nethla? I thought this was my show. What's happening here?
Priyanka, it's the 100th episode, and we are excited about the worldwide YouTube premiere. So, we both thought that we have been the guest on this show. So, let's have the tables turned and get you on the hot seat and let's interview you.
That sounds exciting.
Yes, it does. So why don't you say something like why you like your show? And everyone who's watching online, please drop in your name and where you are turning in from through chat.
It's amazing where I can tell, why I like my show because you both are here as the co-host. I'm super excited, Namya and Nethla. I know you've been wonderful guests on my show, but let's give a quick introduction about who you are. Namya, tell us about who you are and where you're tuning in from and the recent Bal Puraskar award that you won from India's Prime Minister as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Namya Joshi. I'm currently studying in grade 8 in Satpal Middle School, India. And I am basically a Minecraft whiz as I create educational lessons in Minecraft for teachers and students that can help in the classroom engagement. And for that, I've trained 1,000 plus teachers and students across the globe so that they can empower and teach more people, as I believe in each one teach 10. So that means that if I can teach one, maybe 10, so those 10 can train next 10, which becomes as a chain reaction wherein everyone can be benefited from one person's knowledge. And about the Bal Puraskar that I got from our Prime Minister. I got that in the innovation category for the same reason as I'd been creating gamified lessons that could help in student engagement because we don't actually enjoy reading the lessons through the book, but we understand it through pictorials and visuals. So for that, I've also spoken on various platforms and provided free of cost lessons to teachers and students so that they can get benefited from the learnings that I'm providing them.
That's awesome. How about you, Nethla? Tell us more about what you do.
Yeah. So hi everyone, I'm Nethila. I'm Nethila Nimsath. I am actually 12 years old for this year. Not yet. But I'm 12 for this year, and I really love to inspire kids through entrepreneurship. In schools normally kids are not taught like entrepreneurship and business and stuff like this. So I decided to start a YouTube channel where I gather lots of CEOs who own companies and let them and tell them to explain how they became successful and give the younger generation an idea, like give them a few tips like that. And I also plan to create, yeah, we are going to be launching in February. We plan to make a school to teach entrepreneurship to kids, and we will be having two centers in two areas for underprivileged kids.
That's amazing, Nethla. Namya, Nethla, I'm super excited to be working with young entrepreneurs like you who are the future of the country and the world. So tell me what you have in store for me. I'm super excited to celebrate the 100th episode with you both.
So I'm guessing you're ready. So we are going to give you a sneak peek into behind the scenes of the CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast host. We will have two segments. The first segment, we will get to know you, and the second segment is a fun truth or dare.
Oh my goodness. I'm nervous about this.
Are you ready,
Hey,
Priyanka?
awesome. Let's get started. I hope this will be a great way for people to get to see the other side of me as well as being as a guest on my own show. So I'm ready, Namya. Go for it.
Awesome, let's start it. So, my first question to you, Priyanka, is who can be better as the advocate in the importance of student voice? as you yourself at the age of just 5 gave an impromptu speech of an airplane which catapulted you to be a distinguished speaker, and you're also the host and producer of the CurryUp Startup podcast to spotlight Asian leaders and impactors who are inspiring people. So, what do you have to say to the community about empowering student voice?
Thank you so much for your kind words, Namya. Now when I look back at my journey, I'm like, since the age of 5, I've been enjoying storytelling, having a voice, and sharing it with the world. And I believe, looking at young entrepreneurs like you, young kids like you, that we have to be comfortable speaking up. And this is not just for us, it's for empowering the people around us. So I think it's a very crucial skill where especially parents encourage all our kids from a very young age to have an opinion of their own and have that freedom to express their thoughts irrespective of how others might feel about it. So I think it's a very crucial aspect and a life skill. Now that when I have almost like a quarter century since that incident happened when I stepped on stage to give my first speech, I think this is a life skill that has served me really well. And I enjoy amplifying the voices of my fellow people. So, definitely being an advocate for people and starting it from a very young age as a student is something that I really enjoy, and I would encourage each one of you to do it. And you know what, Namya, Nethila, you are role models for the next generation because you are doing it by storytelling, by making an impact in the society through your voice.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That was very well said. That student voice inspires and empowers students to take charge of their own with the education. And I've also noticed that it helps them to contribute their knowledge as well in the classrooms because if they're not able to speak, they might have something inside that they want to share. So they can also talk about their feelings and feel comfortable while sharing their stories. And this what helps us to take the positions of leadership. So that's actually very amazing. And your journey has been very instrumental as you're inspiring many females like me. So can you tell us more about your journey and what you've been doing currently and what are your aspirations?
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up a very good point, Namya, in terms of leadership. Having a voice is just one step, but how do you use that voice in the right way to create an impact in the society is very important. And that's where leadership comes into picture. And especially as young girls, young females, we're looking at empowering each other to succeed. And I believe that's something that we have to be comfortable. Like, for example, Namya, as a kid, as you transition into a teenager to an adult, having the skill of being strong, being independent, is a great role model for people who can grow up looking at you saying like, hey, look at Namya, the Bal Puraskar award that she's won. I think that's a great source of inspiration for a lot of other young kids to aspire to do whatever they're good at, some skill sets that really make sense to them. And for me, I think my parents' upbringing really helped me be where I am today, where, we were two girls. I have a younger sibling. When we grew up in India back in the 90s, you know how things were, probably different. Your mom would have a better sense
Yeah.
of how the society looks at girls, and especially two girl children with no boys as part of your family legacy. But my parents never made us feel that you're girls and you have to follow the societal milestones and be a stereotypical Indian girl. When I was 21, my parents just packed me and sent me to the US to pursue my master's. And then my sister followed me for her undergrad. So my parents were visionary in terms of giving us a future and a childhood where nothing was impossible. As long as you set your goals and your dreams could be as big as going to a different country with just 2 packs of bags and, creating a career for yourself. And I believe that confidence, that trust that your parents can start instilling from a young age in you can go a long way in shaping your future, shaping your thinking, shaping your progressive thoughts about the world. So currently, I work at the US National Academies of Sciences as a technology leader, but I'm able to make an impact to the nation through my contribution in the STEM field. But at the same time, as a podcaster, I'm able to amplify and spotlight purpose driven Asian leaders making an impact. And that gives me immense satisfaction that I'm able to give back to the society, the community, by shining the spotlight on these wonderful people from the Asian diaspora. And that gives a tremendous inspiration to a lot of other people on how do you navigate life? How do you handle challenges? How do you handle setbacks? But at the same time, how do you celebrate your accomplishments in life? So that makes my life more fulfilling and something that I continue to look forward to.
That's truly amazing, and your journey is very inspirational.
Thank you.
I actually believe that to get to the hardest journey, we just need to take one step at a time, but we must keep on stepping. Just don't, like, if you just get achievement and just don't stop there, just keep on moving forward. And that's exactly what you're doing.
Thank you. I'm so glad I can learn from you and we can learn from each other.
Yes, truly.
You have interviewed entrepreneurs. What do you think about entrepreneurship?
You're one of the best young entrepreneurs that I've interviewed on my show. So, something that I learned from you, Nethila, as you are the host of Cinnamon Chat with Nethila and also looking at entrepreneurship to help young kids in the society, is to try new things that are outside of your comfort zone. And that's something that I see as a recurring pattern across all entrepreneurs that I've interviewed on my show. And, the best part of all is taking risks because, Namya and Nethila, your day-to-day routine is like going to school, but on top of it, you're looking at ways in which you can build your own business, right? Be it through your game development platform or Nethila through his kids' entrepreneurship school. So taking calculated risks, which are uncomfortable sometimes because you're not used to doing it. That's one thing that I've really admired from my entrepreneurs. And the second aspect is when you face setbacks, like when things don't go the way they expect it to be. Like, for example, Nethila recently mentioned in his post that one of his videos that he interviewed of a leader got deleted. That was very upsetting. But the way he handled that episode by saying, like, I learned my lesson and now I've taken extra precautionary steps for my team. So we have some checks and balances as we record these episodes. So that's a profound example as to how you can handle setbacks in life and then move on. You can't be cringing about the same past mistakes, right? That's not going to lead you anywhere. So moving on by understanding what's the lesson learned, that's something that's very crucial. And then the third aspect being having fun. Like when I look at you both, and I admire you both because you always seem to have a smile. You're happy doing what you're doing. You consider your hustles as something that's fun, not a burden on top of your school. So I love that attitude. And that's something that is an essential trait for entrepreneurs. So those are the three things, Nethila, that I've really loved learning from entrepreneurs like you both.
That's great, Priyanka. And I've known that you share insights about happiness, personal growth, which is very vital these days. So, what do you have to say to the younger generation about that?
That's a very interesting question. And I'm so glad you're asking me like very thoughtful questions like both of you, because most of the times I'm the one who's asking all these kinds of questions to my guests. So, something that I've learned over the last couple of years is focus on my happiness first, because if I'm happy, I take time to do things that make me happy. I feel that amplifies, multiplies the happiness to people that surround me. So rather than looking at happiness externally, if I look at happiness as something that's internal, something that gives me joy and peace within myself, I feel happy to be around people. And I think that's it's a great trait, but it comes over a period of time and I'm still learning. And some of the things that have really helped me is accepting life the way it is and then focusing on, does this matter to me in 5 years? Whenever you have an issue in life, think, it might be like a very big issue at this point in time, but when I'm going to zoom back at a macro level and I start thinking about in 5 years, like in 2025, whatever am I doing? Whatever I'm feeling about the situation, is that going to really matter in the bigger scheme of things? And that's a way to zoom in and zoom out of your life. And I think that gives a lot of scope for personal growth and happiness to understand what matters the most, and having fun with life. And this is something that, my parents keep joking that I've always been a very studious kid. And, just a fun side trivia, I never used to dress up when I was growing up. And at home, when I used to come back from school or college, I used to have like a rugged ponytail. I would never even, apply any kind of, powder or kajal, like in every Indian girl back growing up in India. I used to be like this tomboy kind of a person, always in like jeans and tops, and never complying with how I should be looking. And my mom used to say like, why don't you get dressed up at least for some occasion? And I'm like, no, I'm just interested in reading a book. That was how I used to spend most of my days outside of school and college. And but it's interesting. I've transitioned to different stages of life, and now I'm in a stage where I'm like, my self care is more important. The way I look, the way I do things for myself, and it's just for me. It's not to please anyone. It's not to validate who I am, but it's more to make me feel good, both internally and externally. So I think that's been some life transitions from me. Some of them which I hear from my parents, where they're like, "Oh, I see that now you're more focused on you, and you're taking good care of yourself."
Truly, I just agree with you that self care is very important because you can't change yourself for others. Then they will start liking the fake side of you. So the thing that I actually learned from you, which I've been believing, is to be yourself. Show your true side to others, and like don't just try to be fake. So that's a very important thing that you just said right now.
That's very true, Namya. And you know what? This is more sustainable because you're authentic. You are not trying to be something for someone. And people who like you are going to be around you. And there are always going to be people who are your well wishers and cheerleaders, right? So, one thing I've learned from all my guests on the episode is no, don't take life very seriously and don't take yourself seriously. So, I've been trying to follow that philosophy as much as I can.
That's great. That's truly great.
All right, Nethila, what do you have for me?
Yeah. What I have for you is now. I'm very sure that you have spoken to many skillful people in your podcast. What skills should kids develop for the future?
One important aspect, which again I've learned from you both, is curiosity to try out new things. And say, for example, Namya, with the game developing platform, Minecraft, you were curious as to what this new software application is. And look where you are today, as you looked at the different kinds of applications that you can develop based on that thought process of making education fun and engaging. So curiosity is one aspect. And two, getting advice from people around you. And Nethila does this very well through his dad, Mr. Amita Gamage, who is a well-known executive coach and a speaker himself. So trying to emulate some of the qualities of people around you who are doing things successfully, I think that's a great skill set to have, where most of the times as entrepreneurs, you don't have to learn everything from scratch. If you just observe people around you, you can actually get a lot of life lessons and then fine tune them to base it to your situation. So I believe that aspect of learning from people around you, I think that's a necessary skill to have. And the third and the most important skill, again, you guys are perfect examples, is confidence. Building that confidence to do new things, learn from it. Look at you. You both are the co-hosts of the 100th episode of a podcast. And, we just clicked just like that, right? Once we met a couple of weeks and we decided we'll do a collaboration, and here you go. So I think that confidence to try out new things. And one thing I've realized is, Namya, you're in India, Nethila, you're in Sri Lanka, but the geographical barriers, the age barriers, the gender barriers don't really matter. If we have an idea, if we have the talent, just be confident to put yourself out there, and look at you both on a video podcast in an international platform. So I'm super proud. And those are the three skills I would suggest, Nethila, that I've learned from young kids like you.
Okay, that's awesome.
Priyanka, everyone has a North Star in their life, and for me, it's my mother. So I'm curious, who is your North Star?
Well, I'm going to say it's my mother as well. She was the visionary who believed in me. I was just a regular, young student. I went to college, do my undergrad in engineering, just like every other Indian, right? That's the typical path that you would follow. But then from a very young age, my mom had this vision that I had to go to the US to pursue my education, and nothing would stop me from achieving that. She always believed that I had so many capabilities and there were possibilities awaiting for me, and that my dreams are big, that I should traverse to another part of the world to actually make them happen. So my mom is my North Star, and I don't tell this to her much. As you know, Asian moms or Asian parents are always underappreciated most of the times because we take them for granted. But this is to you, Mom. I love you and thank you. I'm whatever I am today. It's all because of you and your confidence and your encouragement and the unwavering support amidst my tantrums sometimes. Whatever I am, it's all because of you.
That's so great. We have the same North Star.
I know, right? And all of us, I believe our parents are instrumental, both our moms and dads are very instrumental in helping us shape our life. And because they always have the best interest in mind, it's more about how we leverage those kinds of support systems to make a great life. And thank you for that amazing question, Namya. I'm sure my mom would be
Thank
very
you.
happy.
Yes, she would, really.
Might be a funny question also. So, who's your dream person to interview on this show?
Well, my role model as I was growing up was Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of Pepsi. She grew up in Chennai as well.
Wow.
So she's my role model, and she's someone that I would love to bring on my show for all reasons, being an Asian woman, as a woman of color, having cracked the top leadership role at such a big corporate company and creating an impact in terms of the strategy and the future direction of Pepsi. And I would love to have her on the show. So hope she's hearing it sometime. She'll be on my show.
Yeah,
Well, let's hope so that she'll be there, and I'll be like so happy to see her on your podcast and you both
yeah, that would
collaborating.
make me very happy too.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
that would
To see
be,
that.
Hope that
yes,
day
that's
comes
that
very
would be great.
soon.
Yes,
Yeah,
best of
me
luck
too.
for that.
Thank you. Really appreciate the kind words from you both.
Thank you. So, Priyanka, you take back to back podcasts, attend other conferences, and you also have a year-old son. I understand that these schedules become nerve wracking sometimes. So, what do you do to unwind yourself and just relax for some time?
I think I do two things now that I'm thinking of what do I really do. One is, as a new mom, I enjoy playing with my little one, and I learn a lot from him in terms of how he looks at life, how he gets amazed at all these small things. Like when he walks, he's so amazed that he's able to walk, and that's something that we take for granted, right? I mean, walking is just part of how we are. So the little things of curiosity actually make me feel that I'm in a different world when I'm spending time with him. And the second one is I love gifting. So whenever I'm like, I need a pause, I need to take some time off for myself, I just go and shop, but I shop online. So I look at interesting stuff, mostly stuff that I think I should have played with as a young kid. I start buying all those. And I tell everyone that it's for my son, but most of the times, all the fun toys and the fun, things that I buy for him are mostly like my pet peeves of what I should have had as a kid sometimes. And I love gifting my loved ones, my family and friends, like simple pleasures. I love writing thank you notes or appreciating simple milestones in people's life, people that I'm near and dear to. So those are ways in which I get happiness, and that gives me a lot of refreshment to get going the next day.
I second that. Me time connecting with thyself is the best way to revive, and also gratitude because, like you say, you write notes. Before sleeping every day, I have a gratitude diary wherein I like write everything I did for the day, and that helps me to have like write down everything that happened today. That like just the burden goes off, but like I don't like write anything that went wrong. I just write the good things so that after that, when I'm not feeling good, I can read that out and then I can be cheerful again. So that's a very good thing that you do, and that's very inspirational for others as well.
That's very impressive. You are doing it at a very young age. Most of the times you end up in your 20s or 30s and then you start looking at life. And I'm like, okay, you should have done something like very, very long ago, but kudos to you. See, that's where I learn in terms of how you practice these, simple, effective habits for success.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's also very funny. You're like online shopping for you tell your friends and stuff you're online shopping for your kids, and you also feel like, I really want this.
I know, right? Why not? Treating ourselves once in a while, that's very helpful. And, like last night, you have these iced popsicles that young kids love, the colorful popsicles.
Yeah, yeah.
I usually give it to my son, but I was like, why not? I love those different colored popsicles, and it's fine. I just wanted to have like a late night treat, and I had it without any guilt. And that gave me like a lot of pleasure, saying like, hey, tomorrow's my 100th episode, so I deserve an ice popsicle.
Yeah, you did deserve it,
Thank you.
actually. It's a big day.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
We have like a fun round now. I think Nethila is going to take it. Let's Nethila go on.
Yeah. So before we end the first segment and move on to truth or dare, I have one question for you.
Go ahead.
If you can change anything in this world, literally anything, what would you change immediately?
That's a good question. If I can change something in this world, what would I change
It's pretty
immediately?
brainy. It's
I
pretty
know, right?
brainy.
Sometimes you feel like whatever you think in your life, like whatever you want in your life, the moment you think, you want it to appear the moment, when that thought comes into your mind. But I'm thinking that's a little scary, right? If I start thinking I want this, I want that, and everything just magically appears in front of me, I don't know if I'll ever be happy with that part of it. Um, I love having fun time. I'm a very typical Gemini. That's my zodiac sign. So I love being around with people, having fun, having good food and laughter. So especially with this COVID, I think we're missing that human connections, right? So, one thing I would wish to change in this world is, the world goes back to more of peace and certainty and more time with our family and loved ones, so we can continue having those meaningful connections and live together as a family.
Yeah, that's also kind of funny, when you're like watching a film and you're like really interested in the film and you start thinking about it, things start appearing from that film.
That's a good way, right? It's like the power of wishful thinking, and the universe always
Yeah.
hears you, right? So that's the secrets of your success as well.
Okay, so I think we are moving on to truth or dare. Namya, why don't you ask Miss Priyanka what she wants? Truth or dare?
Okay, Priyanka, truth or dare?
Oh my
Please
goodness,
tell us.
I have no idea what I'm setting up myself for, and these two kids are setting the bar very high for my 100th episode. So, you know what? The funny thing is, I've never played Truth or Dare all my life. And this is the first time
Same
ever
here.
in my
I've
life.
never played ever.
Me
I
never.
just know I have to
Me.
ask you something. I
No,
just
I
thought about
haven't
it.
either.
All right. You guys are being so kind. All right. I'll start with the truth to begin with, and let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
Namya,
what's your
hit her with the
biggest
truth.
fear? What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. Honestly, the biggest fear I have in my life is, what if I lose my parents? Like, what's life after that? That's something that always haunts me sometimes, because they've been my pillars of support. But you know how life goes, right? And you know how it's more about thinking about the future. I think that fears me sometimes. Like, I start overthinking, like, what if.
Oh yeah, the what?
Yeah. What if
So
this
that's
happens?
your biggest fear. Okay.
Hmm.
So we'll go
Okay.
one by one, truth or dare, like that. So let me ask you a dare now.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay, now we don't give you an
let.
option. We just take it out ourselves.
Okay, dare.
Oh,
Go for it, Nethila.
okay. Sing two lines of your favorite song.
Oh
Oh,
my
wow.
goodness, I've never sung all my life. I can give a talk about it.
No, I don't want the talk. I want the sing.
Yes, we want you to sing. Let's
We
our
want you to sing.
viewers hear you sing for the first time.
um, to my toddler, it's kind of half singing, half reading. There's a book that I read to him, so probably I'll read that to you both as well because it's bedtime for you both.
Yeah, probably would go to sleep while listening to you.
I know. So it's not actually like a song, but I'll try to do whatever best. It's called Goodnight Moon, so that's a favorite book of my little one. It goes like, in the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. And there were three little bears sitting on chairs, two little kittens and a pair of mittens, a little toy house and a young mouse. Good night, moon. Good night, room. Good night, mouse and the red balloon. All right. I hope you enjoyed that part of my singing.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
it's kind of like a mix of singing and poetry, like that mashed up together.
right. And this is
Yeah.
my first time singing, so I was a little nervous and anxious, actually, honestly.
So, Priyanka, truth. Are you a
Okay.
selfie freak?
I have an interesting story behind this, Namya. I
Yeah, go
hate
on.
pictures. I hate taking pictures. And I was like that for a very good part of my young adulthood. And my parents would just go behind me saying, like, can you just take one picture of you, like, smiling and happy? I just hated it for some reason. And now I'm like the other way around. I'm not an Instagram freak, but I do like purposeful pictures. And I think the biggest thing is like with as a mother, you're trying to capture moments of your younger one. So I'm more like taking a lot more pictures and selfies with my little one. I think that's my reason to be a selfie freak now.
That's great.
Yeah,
Even me,
so
like I never used to like taking pictures, and I don't even like that anymore now. It's like okay, when my mother says, "Hey, come here," that's when I like do it. Otherwise, same. I'm like you. I don't like to take pictures.
I agree, but when your parents say, "Please come take a picture," I mean, those are wonderful memories. So you should
Yeah,
definitely go
then
and make
yes,
your mom
then I
happy.
would even say no, but I'm never gonna take it on my own.
I know. Yeah, but the younger generation of kids, like my kid, like though he's like a year old, he uses my smartphone and he takes selfies. I don't understand. I don't know if you really understand what he's doing, but I think just it just fascinates them.
Yeah, like I have a cousin. He is about 2 years old now. Whenever he sees the phone, I think the children they kind of like the lighting of it, and they just keep on exploring everything because it's like they see normally things around just are not that shiny, but the screen is a little bit shiny. So I think that's what it attracts them, and I've seen that in my cousin as well.
That's awesome. All right, I'm on to my
um,
dad, Nethila.
okay. So before we move on to there, yeah. So I wanted to say that yeah, taking a picture, I mean, it's not all that bad because it's a memory of your childhood, and when you grow old,
Exactly.
you start laughing at it, saying, "Oh my God, did I look like this? Did I look like that when I was smaller?" Yeah, that sounds fun. Okay, so let's go with the yeah. Okay, the
The
dare.
dad, okay.
Bark like a dog for 10 seconds.
Oh my god!
You're making me do this on an international podcast.
I'm muting up. I'm not saying anything.
All right, so the world is going to see, but you know what? It's part of the
That's
dare that
what's
I
fun
signed up
about it.
for.
Doing it at an international podcast.
Maybe you should have
Ten
asked me to
seconds.
laugh. Okay.
10 seconds. I counted.
Bow bow. Bow. Bow bow. Bow bow. Bow. I hope those were enough bows.
Okay, I guess so. That's enough.
Okay, so your final truth.
Okay.
What's your favorite cuisine? Only one. Only one.
I love Thai food anytime. Thai cuisine, I like Penang chicken curry. I think I love that peanut kind of a sauce flavor. So
I
that's
haven't
my
ever
favorite.
eaten, but I went to Thailand. I've seen there because I'm not eating those non-vegetarian stuff, but I've seen it there. It looks pretty tempting, but I've never tried it.
I've never tried it when I was growing up in India. It was pretty much like the standard food, like the South Indian fare that we would always have. It's only after coming to the US that's one of the perks where you can explore more cuisines.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that.
Great. Nethila, what's your last dare?
Yes, the final there.
Oh my goodness.
Speak speak in an Australian or Scottish accent for 30 seconds.
And it
Oh my
should
god.
be 30. Please, Priyanka, you just did it for about 2, 3 seconds. We're going to count the timer now. You want it for 30 seconds.
Wait,
Let's
I
go.
sang I sang for a quite long time.
Yeah, but we want you to speak for 30 seconds.
What are you saying? Can you have everyone like our podcast? And you both are lovely kids in the world. And I'm too good with food. That is a mix of Australian, Scottish. I hope my listeners all over the world, are kind to me because I've never spoken any of those accents. But, thanks to you both, you put me on the spot.
That's great. And I literally loved being the co host on your show with Nethila, and it was an honor to interview you and get to know more about the inspiring work you've been doing. And I felt even more excited because it was the 100th episode and a bigger accomplishment for your podcast. So thank you so much, Priyanka, for giving me this opportunity to learn from you and also having a second chance to interact with your viewers.
That's awesome. Thank you. Nethila, how
Same
did you
here.
enjoy being the co host?
I enjoyed it a lot. I really want to thank you so much for letting me come here and ask these really fun questions and do the same with Namya as well and speak. Thank you very much for this.
Oh, thank you.
It
And
was
you both have.
yeah, it was great interviewing you.
Thank you. You both have been like very amazing. You've taken me by surprise, and I couldn't say no to any of the dares so thank you for unveiling the other side of the podcast host. And, great questions, both Namya and Nethila. You have, the questions were very thoughtful and empowering. At the same time, I had a chance to reflect on my life, and, people can see a little bit about what I do outside of a podcast host and as a technology leader. Thank you. I'm very honored and I'm so glad that with the support of each and every loyal listener and my guest and young entrepreneurs like you, your family members, both your parents, we've been able to achieve a lot of success. So truly remarkable.
Thank you so much, Priyanka.
Thank you.
So please everyone subscribe to CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast on YouTube and give us a like.
Also, drop a comment to let us know what you liked about the episode. And if you hear us on the podcast platform, give us a like and a subscribe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you guys are amazing. And thanks for being wonderful podcast hosts. Hey, you are on to achieving great things in life. And I really appreciate the kind support and asking my listeners to share and subscribe. I think that's the best part. And to our wonderful listeners out there who are watching this on our live YouTube watch party, this was an amazing and interesting episode for me. And what better way than to celebrate the 100th episode with my listeners and my guests. So thank you both, Nethila and Namya, for joining us. And I want to thank your parents as well, Monica Joshi and Namya, on your behalf, as well as Mr. Amita Gamage on your behalf, Nethila, for giving us this time, the support to do something that's fun and engaging. And I really enjoyed doing this episode. So thank you both as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And to our listeners, thank you so much for being part of our 100th episode of CurryUp Startup Leadership Podcast, a podcast to spotlight purpose-driven Asian leaders making an impact. This is your host, Priyanka Komla, signing off, along with my co-host, Namya Joshi from India, the recipient of Rashtriya Bal Puraskar Award, and Nethila Nimsath, the co-host from Sri Lanka, who is a young entrepreneur and the host of Cinnamon Chat with Nethila, signing off until another episode that's going to happen next week. Thank you, and continue to give us the like, share, and subscribe, whichever platform you're listening this on. Bye-bye.